Welcome to India Narrative Talks. Today we have with us Mr. Gopal Krishna Agarwal, National Spokesperson of the BJP. Thank you for joining us, sir. Pleasure having you. A lot of things happening on the economic front. Of course, it hasn't been a very good year as far as 2020 goes. We have had the unprecedented COVID-19 induced lockdown, which has impacted the economy in a very bad way. Now, of course, the first quarter, the GDP growth we saw contracted by 23.9%. And of course, in the second quarter, it was better, but nonetheless, it was a contraction of 7.5%. Where do you see us going from here? When do you think India will be able to come out of the COVID-19 impact and the pandemic crisis?
Thank you, Mawadi. I would like to thank India Narrative for giving me this opportunity to talk with your audience. And economy is a very dear subject to me, in an Indian economy in particular. These interactions are very helpful to get us the feel of what the people think, what the people want. And first of all, I would like to also convey my good wishes for the Makar Sankranti and the New Year. And as you rightly mentioned, that 2020 was a challenging year, and we hope to do much better and come for a fast V-shaped recovery. Some 2-3 days back, I was looking into the monthly economic report of the Ministry of Finance, and they had given various graphs about vehicle movement, power supply, various parameters were there, and they had all the graphs. Every graph was showing a V-shaped recovery, and that's what already shows that after the third quarter bad result, second quarter bad result of contraction, we have a slightly better result this quarter, and I think last quarter, fourth quarter will be good. But in 2021, everybody is hopeful that India will have a very fast recovery, and we will grow at a fast pace. About a double-digit growth is quite certain to happen, and the government is working towards it. Ultimately, what we think is the growth will come from two areas where we are focusing in the government. One is agriculture sector, farm sector, and rural economy. And even though there was a contraction in the second and third quarter, but still the agriculture or rural economy showed a good growth of about 4% and now 3.4%. So we are further hopeful that this economic growth will come, this rural economy will propel the economic growth further. Second is our focus on the manufacturing sector. Lot of India's MSME sector, small industries, etc., they had a severe problem with the COVID, but the government is bent upon supporting them. In our Atmanirbhar Bharat, a major portion of direct fiscal stimulus went to the rural sector, but second was the beneficiary on the MSME. The government has also come out with good scheme on this street vendors, etc., and we have seen a good result coming out from them. And there we are coming out with several policies, working on those policies, whether it is industrial policy, retail trade, logistic policy, e-commerce policy, import-export policy. All these policies are on the cards, amendment into them, new policies, etc.
Labor laws and reforms in the labor sector, which was long pending. The industry has been demanding labor law reforms. Now it has come across, the government has introduced the labor reforms, but at the same time, they will be implemented from 1st April 2021. Is the government ready? Has the government spoken to the stakeholders? How do you see this panning out?
29 laws have been codified into 4 codes. They have been consolidated so that there is ease of compliances on the part of labor laws. And Second is that they will be notified in April 2021, and the rules are being framed by 1 month. Next month, the rules will come out. There are certain issues which the labor unions are asking for the government to discuss, but ultimately, what I would like to mention is that we had a big reforms in 1991. After that, except IBC and GST, no mega reform has taken place. Even in 1991, the reforms were restricted to foreign direct investment and for international bilateral trade and international trade, and financial markets reforms were there. But agriculture, land, and labor, three major sectors which required a large scale reform, the government at that time and subsequent government did not have the courage to take those reforms. As reforms always require a lot of investment into political capital, and the benefits of reforms come over a larger with a lag of time lag, and then it is also spread over a large segment of population. So the benefits are not felt that intensively. So reforms are always difficult because we understand that without reforms, our economy will not grow. And these three reforms are very much required. We did try to bring out certain land reforms in 2014-15, but that time due to strong opposition, those reforms did not went through, and then it came to us from various quarters that land is a state subject, so it can be left to the states to go for large-scale land acquisition laws reforms, and the central government should concentrate on digitization of land records and land lease holding model bylaws, etc. So we went on that. The labor law reforms are the need of the hour. Without the labor law reforms, manufacturing sector will not have ease of compliances. With these four codes, important is about the minimum wage code that also government has passed already. It is a law, but its notification is pending. And after that, this social security in the working conditions of the various business ecosystem that is required. Even there is a important issue with regard to this condition, working conditions, etc. And the most important is about the contract laws, the contract labor, because industry has been asking for that they need certain relaxations with regard to hiring and retrenchment, because many of the industries are in the field of cyclical industry. So I think as far as three laws are concerned, minimum wage law, improvement in the working conditions at the industrial and other units, and on the issues of social security for the unorganized labor force, there is not a big concern or big reservation. Only with regard to contract labor, there are certain issues, but at least government has to reconcile things. I think in the interest of growth in the industry, and certain problems which are coming out because of fixed labor laws, these are required. Otherwise, labor market will not be very efficient.
In short, can you tell us what exactly would this mean for the employer as well as for the employees?
If you consider labor laws in detail, ultimately, if there is a transparent labor law and the market for labor and employment develops, it will surely help both the labor and the employer or industries. What is happening is that 93% of our labor force at present is working in the unorganized sector. And
Yes.
that unorganized sector labor force does not get any benefit, either provident fund, ESI, or other social security benefits which are available to labor force in the organized sector. So only 7% of our labor force is working in the organized sector. This problem has to be tackled. Why large sections of population is working in the unorganized sector? Why industries prefer to keep themselves into unorganized sector is because the compliance was very problematic. And with the, we understand that the industries have a cyclical nature. There are many industries which are seasonal. Then there are certain industries due to technological innovation changes also, they have to somewhat close down the operations. So what industries people were doing then, that they were preferring to keep themselves into the unorganized sector so that they are away from all kind of compliances. So ultimately this unorganized sector, labor force and industries being in the unorganized sector was ultimately harming the labor only. So if we thought that if we simplify compliances, reduce compliances, allow contract labor force for seasonal industries, or in case certain industries which do not find it profitable to operate, so that they can close down their operation. So this kind of requirement required that the government come out with a mechanism where contract labor is allowed, and industries are promoted and incentivized to come to the organized sector, so that our organized labor sector will get benefits of all the social securities.
Labor
Yes.
reforms, how critical are they to ensure that the ease of doing business is further improved?
The 29 laws earlier, they were putting up a lot of pressure on the small industries for with regard to the compliance requirement. So many registers were required, so many inspectors were coming, and with they were also finding it because of the nature of uncertainty that they were not able to go for retrenchment or layoffs, etc. So and once they find that if they set up some industries and that is not successful, they cannot close down those. So under the new laws, earlier the exemption was given up to industrial units employing 100 employees. Now that number of employees has been increased to about 300 employees. So that is one thing. Even many of the benefits other than these labor laws also have been announced by the central government with regard to contribution to ESI and PF, that employer-employee contribution for new units setting up, and that being contributed by the central government, that is also now being extended to smaller units. So with regard to many of the compliances, keeping of the registers, etc., and removal of the Inspector Raj, so many compliance have been done away with under the restructuring of these new laws.
Do you think India can achieve the goal of 5 trillion economy by 2024 given the COVID situation?
I think that target stand, but slightly delay. 1 year has been lost in the COVID, so it may be have to be extended. But ultimately, the economy is moving towards it. I live in UP, and today only I had one program where there was a big debate on industrialization of UP. There also it was discussed that UP itself, Yogi ji has set up a target of $1 trillion economy for Uttar Pradesh. Ultimately, we have a federal structure where if the state progress, then only center economy will progress. So if one state can have a $1 trillion economy, so overall economy will definitely going to move ahead. The five new policies government is coming out, I mentioned, that will also help into building up the manufacturing sector. Another thing is that there is there is a discussion that risk divergence strategy is taking place. Many of the manufacturing units across the globe had their manufacturing hub in China. They want to shift to India. India is a good place for them. So that manufacturing industries will also come to India, and government coming out with a strong movement on the this infrastructure investment, continue with the infrastructure spent by the government. This will surely help Indian economy to move to the $5 trillion roadmap.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.